It's time for change to move into the real work of the universe. And it's time to understand that we use the matter state to reach the level of understanding of the soul of the man. Now you understand maybe why the Creator has sent his messengers in the name of whatever you have had. Is that they bring the ears, that it can be used when the time of the Messiah comes. They can teach the soul and the message, not to oppose. But by them understanding through those who have become Messiahs, to give from their souls to these to elevate, the job is made easy. The school is there and the students are devotedly there. Then there won't be any fight between what they call the Muslims and the Christians. The lamb and the lion will eat and sleep in the same nest. The Christians and the Muslims will sleep and pray in the mosque, then in the same church, in the name of their souls, not in the name of religion that is used to create so much conflict for the benefit of those who were the hyperactive children. The time has come, the time of change is here. And as I said, my wish is my command. If it's your wish to see peace, path of peace is laid very clearly. It's the soul of the collective awareness, by giving, will create that position of change. No other thing. There is no pen in the soul of the man. And I'm sure once you go into the universal community, you will never see anything written but the balance of the fields of the soul of the existence. Try to be humble enough not to become arrogant in the power that you have understood and you possess. Otherwise, you'll fall in the same path of the church and the mosque. This is what we promised, and this is what we have delivered. We have to understand the operation of the soul, and we have to understand the soul of the man is a star in the cosmos of the universe. If we compare the soul of the man and many of us, 7 billion in one collection, Earth is like a galaxy with so many stars. When we look in the depth of the universe, we see galaxies with hundreds of millions of stars in it. So is the planet Earth. It carries 7 billion beautiful stars, which are the soul of the man. Carries with it soul of so many trillions of animals, plants, and everything else. So if you look, when someone who does not see the physicality of the earth and its content, what do they see? They see a galaxy with so many beautiful lights shining, each one according to their strength, each one according to their position. An infant has a beautiful soul, so has the old man. To those who do not see the physical dimension of this planet, but they see the strength of the field, we are clusters of stars. The human race, every single soul, no one from a distance sees, that's the soul of a fisherman, that's the soul of the cosmologist, that's the soul of the president. They all shine irrespective of the physicality. This is the magic. This is what the new science has to bring to man. When we look to our soul, we see nothing but a star in the other souls. And this is the break. This is the understanding. This is what all these teachings are about. Coming to mature to the next level, to understand in the deep space, the universe is the oyster for those souls who serve. Then man is ready to go into space. Then man is ready to become part of the universal community which has been promised. I never promised you heaven. I always promised you the elevation of the man to join the family. And now you have the key. It's you who has to open the door to understand, if I can raise the soul of these people or millions of other souls, that the physical life on this planet changes, then I'm worthy to be part of the universal community. To be there to serve, to expand, to be there, to be part, that in the cycle of life of universe, I become, in being part, I become part of the totality. When man reaches that point, a new dimension in the strength of the soul of the man will appear, which is beyond imagination of understanding of the physical life. It's the gate to the opening of the new life, in a new dimension, which is beyond imagination of what you might call a new
Hello,
life.
Flint. I think you'll be right if you play that video straight away after this. Can you do it?
Mr.
Yes.
Keshe, we can hear you.
Sorry. Yes. Thank
Yes, please. Thank you. Bye.
Cycle carries with itself the origin of the creation of life in the universe. It's the elevation of the soul to serve become the key, not a throne of the physical life. The time is right. The time has come for the man to go through this process. The process of understanding is very simple. The process is, as I explained last time, I explained more in detail. We are created out of the rays within the center of the universe. In interaction and reduction in strength and division by the strength in certain strength fields, in collection of the totality of the expansion of the universe, some energies, some dynamic fields have come together. Over billions of years, these fields lead to the creation of what we call the sun. Where the plasma gathers together. The same process repeats again because the sun is the same as the energy center of the universe. Now, the heavier, the larger amount of the energy which is collected in this span of the universe, we call the sun, that irradiates out, does the same thing again. Radiates its fields out, and in interaction with the itself, with the fields of itself, leads to creation of planet. In that process of the creation of planet, the same process happens again. In the interaction of the fields of the earth with its environment and cooling and exchange with the strength of the other things in the environment of the space of the solar system, leads to creation of man, cell, matter state. And that itself, in coming together and slowing down in certain ways, as we call, leads to another sun. We call the soul of the man. This is the truth about the life and creation of the man. But if the soul of the man can understand and absorb and be correct with his conduct, he can become the strength of the fields and carry the strength of the field of the planet which came to this creation. And if the soul can understand with the same process, can interact, can be correct, can absorb with itself the totality of the strength of what it needs, it shall become the sun. And then the same soul has the energy that it can absorb within the solar system, within the galaxy, shall become the center of the universe. Earth, we call it the rain, come from and goes back to. Solar system, we call it planetary system. We come from the rays, we become the planet, and we go back to the mother. The same thing happens with the galaxies, with the solar systems, which they get absorbed back in and they chewed up back into the universe. The life, the process of existence in the universe is the same. It doesn't matter on what exchange and what extent. So, what is the man fighting for? Why do we fight for something which has come from the point of the creation, and in the process it goes back to the creation? The soul of the man, as the energy of the earth, gives the face of the man, the face of the earth, and that process is the same for the soul of the man. Our soul, in reduction in strength, in interaction with the emotion of the field of the environment, leads to manifestation of the existence of the man. But once it's completed, does it need the face? Or can it be and becomes free from it, what we call the soul of the man, be free and detached from its existence? Our soul is part of the process of the creation. The key to one question, who man shall be in the future, to be answered. As we saw the sun became the earth, and as we saw the earth became man's soul, what will be the destiny of the soul of the man now becomes free at the point of departure from physicality. Would it become the sun for creation of another life, or many lives, or correction of lives? This shall be, and this is how it happens. When you create a soul which is not correct, which is misconduct by itself, cannot give, you lead to the creation of this next cycle of creation, which has started the wrong way, the wrong strength. This is one thing the man has never understood. You become the creator of another universe, another cycle. And this is what you have to judge with the instruction of the soul of the man. What would I like that cycle to be? In the physical life, we create children. In the dimension of the life of the soul of the man, what that soul will create. If man has thought up to now, that's it, my end, my point, when I die is finished, there's as much fallacy that when the sun is destroyed in any shape or form, there shall be nothing left. But we know the part of the sun becomes part of the galaxy and becomes part of new life. So shall be the soul of the man. The judgment of the man has to be according to what he sees the future his soul can conduct to be. The day of judgment is for the man, not in front of the Creator. That what my soul judges to be and what shall create. Man never understood and shall never understand till can solve this dilemma within itself. The reality is very, very, very real. And that is, as we've seen, the energy of the galaxy become the sun, the energy of the sun has become the earth, and the energy of the earth has become the soul of the man. So shall be the soul of the man, which is the energy itself, another cycle of life. How can you change when you don't understand? How can you change the process of understanding if you do not understand the process of the creation? Do we need to extend the understanding of the man that what is the future he brings? We care about our children, what education they get, what they wear, how happy they'll be, where they sleep. Now the man has to be careful and consider, what life shall my soul create? Because those are the children of your soul. As we see, the rays of the sun has become a planet, and 7 million children of it. 7 billion unlimited, which is growing. So the soul of the man will go through the same process. How many billions and subdivisions and sub-matter state of the physicality of the man your soul shall create? Would it be the soul of wars and conflict and forever killing? Or would it be the soul of this, let's say, solar system, which is peaceful? This is the truth and the reality about the soul of the man. First of all, as I said many times recently, we never understood that the soul of the man is within the structure of the man. And now that we understood, we understand on departure from the physicality of the man, the same process will carry on as it did for a star, a planet. And the soul of the man becomes another energy source, a higher order, which itself leads to the creation. It becomes the star, it becomes the center of a new cycle of creation. This is what the human race has to understand. The cycle actually starts from the point of death and not finishes at the point of death. In so many ways, if one understands, is as the dusts, specks of dust came together to make the earth in the solar system, so has the specks of the atoms has come to be the creator of the man. And the essence of the creation of the specks of dust on the solar system has led to the creation of the man. So shall be the fields from the soul of the man which lead to creation of another cycle of life. What kind of life man would like to have to be created by the soul? This is the day of judgment. This is what man never understood. Now you have to understand. You have no choice. Up to today you were not aware of it. From today you are aware of it. You are responsible for it. Your conduct has to be to elevate your soul. That in elevating the soul, what you become the creator of stands correct in the conduct of the citizens. We don't give fairy tale. This is the truth. But as you've seen, the process does not stop with one sun. The cycle carries on. It's very interesting in how humanity now knows in fact to handle the fact. It'll take decades for man to understand, and then you understand those who become the tools of war, the tools of conflict. They have nothing to start with. They have to become the dust in the solar systems of the others till the day they learn more, as they cannot create a new cycle through their own soul. This is the elevation of the soul of the man. To be part of the creation of a beautiful life for the next cycle. When you don't have it, you have to become another cell in the body of the structure of the bigger, for you to be just there that you can done when you could have been the soul of the man. They say, do not create fear. I give you the point of love for creation. If you cared about your children on this planet to have the best, your true children come out of your own soul in the coming time. How would you like to educate them? How would you like to be when you are in conflict with yourself and the cause of so much mayhem? This is the truth. And the man will take a long time to understand, as now that we understand the soul of the man is an operator for the creation of the future extent of the life of the man. Whatever is gathered by the soul at the end becomes his point of reference of his own creation of his own dimension. But the strangest thing is, what he creates from his soul shall become the creator of the other souls. This is the beauty about the creation. And one understands it, understands no limitation.
Welcome everybody to the 217th Knowledge Seekers Workshop for Thursday, March 29th, 2018. I'm your host, Rick Cremond, and once again, as we have for the last 216 Knowledge Seekers Workshops, we'll be hearing from Mr. Keshe of the Keshe Foundation, possibly also from Caroline and other knowledge seekers from around the world as we enter into another presentation today. And I think we're ready to begin with Mr. Keshe, and I'll check on that. Mr. Keshe, are you ready for today, or do you need some more time?
Good morning, good day to you, wherever and whenever you listen to these series of knowledge seekers. As they say, we are willing and able. It's just that what we can do with this ability counts. Thank you very much for such a beautiful presentation, both from what we said Universal Council, from Bill and Rick last week, which now we see it, and from Lisa, member of the Earth Council. And even this part of the KFSSI education part. This is what the members of the Earth Council gradually are taking responsibility. Awareness of the system of this planet on the responsibility of their soul. These are part of the teachings which has been done, is getting in a way brought together in a space of time that we do not lose the point of reference. We understand what is about to happen, why we are here for, and for the first time, man has an answer to his existence. We're learning more, and the beauty of it is that the more we learn, we know not much. We have not learned much, but maybe in the progress and the establishment of peace, we learn first to have peace within ourselves, and then we can create a peaceful soul that it leads to creation of other peaceful souls in the future to come. In so many ways, we have been teaching extensively about the soul, and there are reasons for it. There is extensive evidence that Keshe Foundation will achieve a space flight spaceship this year by members of the Keshe Foundation. What we see in the background getting developed, and by understanding of the scientists of the new plasma technology, and from what I have seen or what I see, as you know, I do not interfere but guide, because then it becomes my work, which should not be. I've done my job. Is that 2 to 3 groups within the Keshe Foundation structure of the work will achieve full solidification, what we call creation of the matter state out of the fields. In so many ways, when you have seen this video, which was shown, produced by Lisa, confirmed how the rays became the body of the man, and then the body of the man creates another ray to become another cycle. This has been a mystery of we never understood. Now we understood. The science of Keshe Foundation are on the verge of the development to be able to show the first spaceship. We always said 2018 will be done, it will be there on the horizon. But in so many ways, on the back end of the 2017, we saw a development which we encouraged. And now, through the group of people I talk to, we see a rapid development. I guide, and in so many ways, most of the teams understand now what they've done before is relevant to what they're going to achieve. All the pieces of jigsaw which they had in their hand and they created it, now start fitting it and matching it. My best wishes, my best hope is if none of the groups diverts, within the coming weeks we see the first shimmers and the creation of plasmatic magnetic field matter state of the spaceship. What I would like to ask all of us to lend our soul to these people, that they get enlightened, they find the strength to stand the time of it. As I have told all three groups, the instant they touch shimmer, which means they can feel or see very much like a shimmer of waves, Keshe Foundations will go live on the Keshe Foundation channels. Does not matter how long it takes. We've done this before, we stayed online for days on end. When we achieved 129, when we achieved the star formation left and landing in a small space and stopping of the reactors. At the moment I have informed all the groups. The moment they see shimmers, they do not need to inform me or anybody else. Webmasters are your target. Get in touch with them and you go live. The beauty with this will be that the minute the structure takes shape, that the man reaches maturity of transformation of the elements of the fields of the plasma to matter state, the full transmutation of the fields completes and man will enter the universal community. World leaders will collapse as the man will find the freedom of the space and nations will become irrelevant. One of my requests to all the knowledge seekers who are working in this position is the following. Record every step from now on. And in recording, the instant you receive or you reach the point of shimmer and solidification, manifestation of the dimension of physicality, release the information on the internet. Do not wait, not even a second. Let the others to replicate as fast as possible. This is the key to the opening of the universal community. This is the key to end up all the wars and conflicts, where the Keshe Foundation takes the direction of peace, eradication of all the wars. You will understand when you come to it. You will understand very rapidly what it means when you come to it. I asked all the groups who are working in this direction, continuously upload your data, and the minute you go from to shimmer, you go to solidification, what we call layering of the manifestation of the physicality, release data on the internet rapidly. Let it be duplicated, there is no patent. You are supported, you have been heavily supported by the Keshe Foundation, and the Keshe Foundation means humanity. And release the data immediately, that others can replicate. If we can replicate in 10, 20, 100 places around the world and with the full information, we have created one nation. Which means that we'll travel with the system across this planet in seconds. This is important for all of us, And this will become more important for all of us that we understand this position. We never patented, we don't allow patenting. So, as I said, nobody can patent the knowledge of Creator. This development is very rapid. 2 of the groups have reached what we call, in so many ways, dynamic torus shape field flow. This is significant because with the torus field flow, this is what we have. In setting up a system, they have managed to create fields. And they feel physically the fields here and the fields there. It's not a wind because there is nothing rotating. It's a magnetic field flow. But at this moment of time, the field floats too wide. They need to create a condition, they have been told what to do, that it tightens the fields in. And in tightening the fields, by law of physics, as we understood, going back to the past times, in the creation of, if you remember, the skin of the man, you have 3 reactors. You have a flow which controls this reactor. You have a flow which controls this reactor. And you have a flow which controls this reactor. This reactor and this reactor will create their own field flow, and so shall be with this. As you can see, slowly the whole thing takes shape, and 3 layers of gravitational magnetic field will lead to the creation of very interesting silver light. As the skin of the man had 3 layers, and he manifested the man to have a containment, so shall be in this condition. One of the problems which our teams have is to how to tighten this rope or this belt along here. They know, I think they understood in the teaching of recent days. And the minute they bring the last one in, the other 2 are already existing. The manifestation of the physicality of the spaceship will manifest itself. The research teams, you know exactly what you got to do, and precisely how to bring this home in the next few days or weeks, depending on your understanding of how your system works. As I said, the instant you reach what is known as the shimmer of the fields, go live. And on 2 or 3 channels. Webmasters, those who work in the background supporting teachings, you shut down and you open your channels public. Every second counts that we can keep the knowledge open and do not get stopped. Connect to as many Zooms, Facebooks, YouTube channels that you can go out with, and create a condition that the knowledge is shared. As I said in the talk, do not become arrogant. You'll get excited. But do not let the excitement becomes arrogance. Share the knowledge and stay online till another group or another groups can replicate. Then another group can replicate, and then another group can replicate.
The beauty of it is once a number of star formation systems like this start building up, those systems who many of you have made will start solidifying too. This is the beauty of it. In the teaching that I said, how come that when there is no fish, suddenly you see a fish, you become the fish which was not there and you become a fish. Just turn on your systems on and try to replicate. And somewhere in the instantaneous time, you will replicate and you will see. We are on this path and there is no choice. The teaching of the space technology rapidly reaches its climax of light, and it will change many, many things for many of us. The research teams, those who are working in the background on this, remember one thing: keep a safe distance and do not get carried away trying to touch. You have created a dynamic magnetic field flow which is like a saw. It doesn't cut you, but this has a field capability of conversion of matter. This is a condition of plasmatic, and it will affect every one of you who come across it. Emotionally will satisfy you, and at the same time, in reaching flight, many of you reach excitement of seeing it, and you see it as the freedom of man. But remember, from that point, the responsibility becomes harder and tougher, and the obligation becomes much harder for all of us to keep within the ethos of the Keshe Foundation. In so many ways, excitements will be short term, short living, because it becomes another thing which we get used to, and so we go back to the present structure of life. The process is how we can speed up and sustain life the way it is, and correctly manage till all aspects of this technology gradually opens up worldwide, and the usages of it become part by part usage, and can be used by everybody else. There are a number of requests which we have from many of you. As I said, the life will carry on. It's just because we open the space does not mean that everything finishes. We learn to fly and the problems became bigger. Now we transport our problems and stuff to our neighbor across nations and continents. The opening of the space will be the same. We carry deeper our pleasures and joys in a faster way. Meanwhile, as we are progressing and as we still need to carry on with the physical life even after we travel to deep space, is education, development of the technologies needs to carry on. As you're aware, we are developing number of factories, number of organizations, research centers, and research groups. In this development, we have reached a point that, as we said, we need number of workers for Accra. We need Spanish speaking. I repeat, we need a large number of Spanish speaking people for Keshe Foundation Mexico in next 3-4 months. Arman's thought are Mexico will come online before Accra does, as Accra is huge. And our team has been to Mexico. If there are any pictures you can share in the background, I step down, you can see the Mexico factory will go under renovation, of complete, has been through partial renovation, in the sense it'll be extended and the machinery to reach there. And this process will carry on to a large extent in the next 3 months, 6 months. And with it, will see Italy has moved online, and I have requested Italians to start moving in a very fast direction. We are requesting the following. Please understand this very carefully because it's important as part of the motion of the Keshe Foundation. We are looking for premises around Texas. We are looking for large premises around Texas. Keshe Foundation is investing to create anything up 10 to 20,000 jobs in Texas state of United States in the next months. If we find fully developed site, production of the machinery and landing it 3 to 6 months before end of this year, we offer large number of jobs into the American community as part of the Keshe Foundation global operation. If you are American English speaking, which you all are, and part of the Keshe Foundation, we need in next few weeks to know who you are, how much you know about the work of the Keshe Foundation, how we will set up a temporary space in teaching the American citizens to develop the materials for Keshe Foundation. Our target, Texas, has a specific reason of agriculture, a specific reason to revive the agriculture of this state. As you know, the waterbed, the water table in this state is reducing rapidly because it's not everlasting, and this will revive the agriculture industry in United States. I repeat again, Keshe Foundation USA, as part of the Keshe Foundation global operation, will develop this. We are looking if you can find premises in Texas, Dallas area where we have access to large number of people, we can train. We are looking to employ anything between 10 to 20,000 in the coming months in the United States. Arizona Research Center expands rapidly. We make a decision in the next couple of more or less months as the new dimension, the space technology comes in. Those of you who are of the Italian speaking, the Keshe Foundation, we are waiting for the permission of the factory that we can announce the job. We have the premises. We are waiting for license authorization to go ahead. And then in Italy, we are looking for maybe 300 to 500 jobs, maybe more. There are other plans in the background. You will see, we had this, there is a new pictures coming in from United States. From this is what you have put on, is from Mexico. If Arman is in the background, Arman, can you please send new pictures of Mexico development? And you will see the plans for Mexico is on its way. We see other parts which are developing. The process is very, very simple. We have to be able to achieve in so many ways the productions and target areas of what we are looking for. You will see, Rick, I have sent you to your secure line 4 pictures from Mexico, because you put this up. You see our, what we call architects and people who are responsible for development of Keshe Foundation in these pictures, where they have flown from Europe last week to start the process of the Keshe Foundation manufacturing in Mexico. The process is very simple. As you see it out there, the foundation owns the property, and it will be a massive operation for us. And there are other pictures with this set, and we will release this. This is all part of the Keshe Foundation, what you call um, Mexico. It's important for us to be able to achieve this. And as I said, Mexico will receive a large number of people to employ. It's a matter of finishing. It's amazing how the Mexican team are working. Arman has bet that they'll go faster than rest of us in other 3-4 locations we are developing. But our next target is state of Texas in developing new systems for the what we call agriculture, targeting directly in supporting the American agriculture industry, and we see a large number of employment. We have announcements for our Chinese team, China Keshe Foundation. We are on negotiation, and within the coming time, very short time, we'll announce the startup of the first Keshe Foundation manufacturing in China mainland. We are looking again equal to Texas, about 40,000 square meters of factory space with a large number of Chinese to be employed. Again, as you're aware, we closed Shenzhen lab the way it was run, and a new Shenzhen lab under the leadership of Nathan has been set up. It comes operational from Saturday or Sunday. New locations, please go to it and support them. It's mainly teaching and research, and with it we have brought 3 other groups of the Keshe Foundations across China to be part of this organization. As I said last week, I've been told there are 2 more groups which are working part-time, full-time for development of new technologies. Please contact Nathan as a Keshe Foundation and develop everything with us. The Keshe Foundation in Shenzhen, the new Keshe Foundation in Shenzhen, comes under control and ownership of Keshe Foundation, what we call Keshe Technology in Sanya. This company is owned by Keshe Foundation, and so they directly become under ownership of the supervision and subsidiary of the Keshe Foundation Technology of China. It is important that all of us understand, we need many knowledge seekers now who've been around and looking for a job. The jobs are yours. If you can prove, if you can be there to support every development which is coming in. We are looking in so many ways, as due to our expansion, to number of specifically specialized jobs. Our IT section is expanding rapidly, and our webmasters, if you are in the background, Stanley, would you like to come in and tell us what you need specifically, that they can come to the webmasters. We are looking to employ a fair large number. We do not put numbers on it for the IT section of the Keshe Foundation. Do not forget, this covers every aspect of the Keshe Foundation. It's not just the website, it's the factories, the design of the products, the design of everything else, stock control, sales across the world, and we'll see how we end up and we'll come on. Stanley, are you there that you can tell us what's the request of the new Keshe Foundation IT section, please?
Yes, Mr. Keshe, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So for the IT part, as you already told, we are building up the team, and we are looking into professionals with extreme knowledge and expertise in the huge e-commerce systems. E-commerce systems on the level of Alibaba, Amazon, eBay. Then the IT professionals with good knowledge in Amazon web hosting and experience with the data centers across the world with GeoDNS, load balancing. For the e-commerce systems, also those that have an extensive experience with integrations with the logistics service providers and courier companies and online payment systems. We are looking into programmer section development, software development for especially for PHP 7, JavaScript, Java for the web interfaces, Redis, and others. And on the other side, we are also building up the team for with the knowledge on Joomla and all the products that are available for Joomla. This is out of scope of the manufacturing, but we need that team too. And in a way, we look also into professionals with the knowledge on existing cryptocurrencies, as well as the banking system. So related to the IT sector. So all of you that are having this kind of knowledge, if you could send the email to stanley.christmas@kfm.global, we will be looking into your applications and contact you accordingly. So I think this is it, Mr. Kesh.
Thank you very much. It has to be said that these are all coming due to rapid expansions of the foundation and the factories and what it brings. And as we have opened up the catalog section of the work, we need more people who can literally data gather, control, complete all the data from each manufacturing site. Can you close your microphone, please, in the background? That we can accumulate and we can bring everything together. These are all part of the support team we need in the Keshe Foundation. With today's announcement, if you gather what is on the table, gradually we're increasing numbers as the factory is coming up and getting planned to come up, because we can't say we open a factory tomorrow and then start looking for people. It takes 2 to 3 months minimum before the structure is put into position for factories, even more on the day we completely finish it, to train, to get the system trained, people understood how the system works. So as of today, if you just gather with the adding of the fingers, we are offering anything around between 30 to 50,000 jobs currently for this year at Keshe Foundation across. You got to understand that the expansion is not talk. As you see, the premises are bought. We've shown it. Ghana is on the move. Italy is on the move. Other areas which we are considering on the move. Have you got the pictures from the Nigeria, please? Nigeria Keshe Foundation, as a company, we've been told is in the process and completion. And as you know, Alex doesn't waste time. We are meeting very shortly, and what we call Nigerian Keshe Foundation factory will be completed most probably anything around before end of this year. The site has been found, negotiations are complete, and the investments is ready for Nigeria to go through. The farm is getting done, and I sent you a picture, Rick. You have it?
That's the last one you sent me before the last couple, I think. So
Yes, the one with the pool.
Yes, just a second. Right, exactly.
Thank you very much. This is what, if you remember, Alex asked for some financial help a few months ago. He said, wrote to us a couple of days ago, says, Mr. Keshe, the research center is ready. This is where, if Alex is in the background, can tell us what he can do there. You have to deal with him. he understands the, what I call the position. Can you see if Alex is behind? He's there. Alex, would you like to
Hi,
tell?
Mr. Kesh.
There he is.
Hello, hello, darling. How
Hi,
are you?
Mr. Kesh. I'm
Good.
well, and you?
Oh, still good.
Yeah, this.
You're
Okay.
invited for dinner. You are invited for dinner, huh?
Where?
Don't forget. Next
I
week,
know
you
that.
told me you're coming.
Yeah, I know. You told me before. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. This is the research center for the one Mr. Kesh donated to the Kesh Foundation Nigeria. It's not really properly done yet, but I mean the skeleton is what you can see now. The interior is not properly done. So when it's done, I'm going to take you through and show you what I intend to do in the premises. And as you can see as well, the swimming pool is there as part of the research center as well. And that's it.
Your swimming pool is empty. It was
Yeah,
full the
because
last time we saw it.
no, we have fields in it. We swim in the fields. You can't see it's invisible.
Well, you don't need to swim. You're just gonna need to walk in it.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Okay. Can you tell us what's happening with you in the farm section?
Oh, Mr. Kesh is hectic in the farm. I have to abandon it for now because the rain is just disturbing me. I have to stop for now because the rain is
That's why you got molded out in a way. You got rained out.
yes, too rainy. So I have to come back to the city now. That's why I have reception now. And then, but it's going. I mean, we cleared the land. We cleared 60 hectares, and then we're trying to put the borehole, which is not possible because of the rain. So we have to stop for now until the weather calms down.
You're going into your rainy season.
Yeah. And unfortunately, the reception is going to start being dodgy now. So don't expect to see me on the farm anymore.
Okay, that's good. Thank you very much for everything you're doing in Nigeria.
All right, Mr. Kesh. Thank you. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, everybody. All right. Thank you.
See you. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. These are part of the process which the foundation is gradually building across the planet. What we are trying to do, as you remember, we used to allow a lot of people to come and show their work, their discoveries and their developments, and we stopped it about a year ago because of the massive stupidity of some people, especially in Austria and Germany and in another country which we never mentioned. And now we're going back to it. Every week we allow 1 or 2 or 3 people to start coming back and showing what they are doing and what the development achieved. Please pre-record your presentation. No music, no text or whatever from outside. And we are bringing people inside that your presentations, or what you call your testimonials, can be helped to become a scientific paper for the Keshe Foundation release or on the Wiki. This is important for a lot of you. So if you have done some work or you want to show your work, we are going back to it. My request from all of you is, if you see anything, anybody calls you anything or makes threats or whatever, ignore it. The ignorance of theirs should not become the loss of us. The best example of this is the picture in front of you. Alex can tell you, these what I call godless people, they have nothing to do, they think they're very big, they made threats against him and his family. He went on hiding. I asked him, you know too much, come out. He came out, if you remember, in Trani, and what is in front of you is out of the threat they made. Most probably, if they wouldn't made the threat, Alex would have never come to the front. But by making the threat, it made us resolute to bring him out. And you see the fruit of it. Everything they do wrong, it becomes a benefit to all of us. In a way, their stupidity, and they thought they were very clever, has led to such a beautiful thing in front of you. A research center in the heart of Africa. We've seen the other development in Accra, we've seen the development in Kenya, we see development coming up rapidly across Africa. And this is out of a threat. Let them threaten you. Understand in the coming time it becomes a better thing for humanity. We are not sacrificing, we're just ignoring their ignorance. I thank those who made the telephone call to threaten Alex's child and him, because your cleverness of picking a feeble, what I call rat, has led to such a beautiful creation in Africa for the Africans. Nobody could help Africa more than your stupid telephone call. Please make more and let people do more. If that, what I call threat, would not come in, most probably Alex would still been in England testing magravs and doing his job. And now you see what that's brought to Africa. We thank you for that telephone call. And if you are one of those who receives these kind of calls, please call us. Please let us know. We don't take them as a loss. We get it as a gain. And you've seen what a stupid telephone call has brought such a beauty. The other point which we start, if you notice, doing in our teachings, is to bring back as part of what has been taught and emphasize back on it and show on it. One of the most beautiful things, if you look at this picture, is that pool. As I just said to Alex, there's no water in it. And exactly how it should be. The water is in the body of the man who walks the swimming pool, not in the water which he walks in. In fact, if you think of it, the media of the water holds more of what it's got to give to itself, and walking in the media of the air as you do, as the fields, magnetic fields cannot be blown away by the winds, as the stand resolute, as we saw with the video of Tom last week in the island. So you actually experience the true feeling in walking this pool without any water, in how you will be treated in space. There is no water in the space. Where are you going to find water to walk, to swim, to help yourself? Where are we going to find swimming pools and patches? Or we understand the difference in the magnetic field strength gradients that is needed to, in a way, free the body of the man. In so many ways, if you see and understood the teaching of last week, we are gradually walking away even from liquid. As I explained in the teaching of last week, if you could eliminate the gases, or what I call water in the ganses, then you should be able to achieve much better results than the liquid water in your course. You have to learn to use magnetic fields irrespective of medium. The medium is what has fooled man up to now. The medium, which is the gravitational magnetic field of this planet, leads to the creation of the physicality of the man. If we change the strength of the gravitational magnetic field of this planet, the whole of the human race and other animals and creatures and plants will change very rapidly to fit into that. If you understand this, for those who work in the creation of the matter section of labs of the Keshe Foundation, you should have understand exactly how the condition of environment you create leads to the condition of creation of the matter by interaction of the fields which you use. It's the environment which leads to the creation of matter when the fields interact, not the interaction of the fields to lead to the creation of the environment. When you are mindset to create matter state or any other state. Those of you who work in the direction of the space lab, you have to understand, you have to move away from the matter state into plasma state. I explained this last week. It is crucial for those who are in the space research development to understand this. And by understanding it, you move away from liquid GANs and you walk into the plasma condition. As I explained in the previous teachings and in the early teachings of today, if you can increase the flow, the speed of the flow of the magnetic fields to the position that the friction between the matter states, plasma states in interaction with each other will lead to the release of the fields, which once the fields are released, leading to creation of the spaceship condition, needs very little to maintain. Very, very little. Because there are hardly any losses and there's always more gain. In the process of development of the space technology, in understanding that there is no need for liquid or the gas state, there will manifest a new science in the world of science of man. This is the next step for most of the knowledge seekers to understand. As we have done this before, we are going back on it because before nobody could understand. Hopefully this time some will and the others will follow. The creation of the fields becomes more important than the creation of the GANs and plasma. We went from the matter to nano, to GANs, and now to fields, and from fields released by their interaction to the state of the matter. So what you have to realize is how, in what direction, in what speed, and how much of one matter or the other you want to create or maintain or sustain. In that process, many of you will understand that the energy transfer is more important than the presence of the energy itself. A bag of flour on the table does nothing unless we come in the hand of the master who knows adding a little bit of water to it can make it bread. Or a little bit of something else can make it a cake or whatever. So it is important that we understand and start working not in the state of the plasma of matter state, but in the plasma of the fields of the state. Then understand by the interaction of the fields in the dimension of matter strength leads to creation of the matter itself. This is, as we've said many times before, secret to creation of matter. And then how you change the environment according to the strength, the same matter will change its property and its characteristics, because it has to respond to its environment. According to the field strength of it, will change from gold to platinum, or mercury to gold, or water to hydrogen, or helium. For those of you who take into the dimension of the space travel for production of the materials and energy, this will become vital understanding. You can change the environment and you get the same product. If you keep your fields constant and you can change the environment in a gravitational magnetic field strength, then you start creating any matters you like according to your need. Our research teams in matter production have not understood this, and it looks like they're lost. Because if they would have understood, there would not be a chance of this will be, can that be, but they target exactly what they need, and by changing the environment can achieve the matter state which they need. But at the same time, if you understand this, it goes back to the operation of the soul of the man. If you understand how you can extend the energy fields from the essence of the creation of the man, and how you can block this energy at a given point, will lead to the creation of the matters of desire of the man. In the process, if you understood that it is the fields which converts to what you need by interaction on the field, this should be very easy for our space development people to create the solid state body of the craft. The simplest way will be to understand the field strength and direction of the motion and the spread of the field before and after interaction. Are there any questions or ambiguities you want to clear up?
There's a question, Mr. Keshe, from the chat here, from I think it's a Christina. Let me open it up so I can see better. Christina, yes. How can we determine the outcome from the interaction of the fields so we can consciously create the desired outcome, be it from GANs or coils? How can we learn and understand the fields even if we don't see or feel them?
The thing is, do you desire the physicality or do you desire the intention? And then, do you know how to control the emotion or the fields from the soul of the man that partially will become physicality and partially becomes satisfaction of the desire, that you see it but doesn't need to be there? Those of you who will go down the space path, you'll have this very, very, very strange feeling, and that'll be that you would like to have gold, but you don't want to carry it, but you want to have the feel of its with you, and you're carrying it. And you can create that emotion. Those of you who become expert in it can change your diamond ring anytime to any color of material from platinum to gold. Because you have not changed the matter, but you change the environment of it through your emotion. The same metal will become steel or gold or platinum as you desire according to the strength which your soul releases in the environment of the ring. Any other question?
I believe Joseph had a question. I'm not sure if it was on this particular topic, but he had a question from the German group apparently, and I also see He's put a comment in the chat here. There is a sun flare impact on Austria and Europe last Tuesday. Many people were affected by the pressure in their heads, and some devices played crazy. How can we fill up reactors the right way, or how can we prevent an impact of coming solar flares to our universes?
This needs a special understanding, and it's amazing how these questions are coming up. It started about 2-3 weeks ago, and this question, in a way, answers it. I've done this about 4 or 5 times out of nowhere. You have to learn how to create mirrors. Magnetic field mirrors are different than normal mirrors. Magnetic field mirrors are created in a way that they absorb magnetic fields, being a solar flare, being a deep space oceans of fields, that it allows you to work. It's like an umbrella you create, that you don't get wet, but it doesn't stop the rain. You got to learn how to make magnetic field reflectors or absorbers, or systems which magnetic fields can be reflected. Tesla has done a lot of work on this. If you read his work, you might understand. But if you combine my teachings with part of the Tesla, you might find a new system which does work for bending the radio frequencies in physics of the matter. And then you can use it the same.
We were discussing the use of a substance called bismuth, an element bismuth, that might be interesting. Is that possibly something that might be considered? Bismuth is the substance that is the most diamagnetic. It would reflect a magnetic field the best. No, wrong.
Because that is because that is the magnetic in the matter state.
Yes.
Is not in the gaseous state, which is oxygen. And then in the state of the plasma of the universe, if you work, there is no oxygen. So the what you call diamagnetic field in the universal, what you call dimension of motion, is deuterium. But
Okay.
you have to understand how it does. Most of the reflection of the rays of the sun for man on the upper layers, it comes from the 3 isotopes of hydrogen, nothing else. And deuterium is very much in the structure, in combination of elements, sits and behaves in a combination of the what we call crystals lattice energy, which is like diamond. It's, if you look at it, you have with the carbon a very strange plasma condition, and this is one of the beauties of it. And if you look in the lattice structure of, I don't know where this guy is, leave it there. You have, I don't like this thing. You have, if I do it bigger, if you look at the carbon in a structure, you see exactly what I'm talking about. Then you have then what you have is another line, which is this. When at the right condition, when a right condition of gravitational field, magnetical field strength is reached, this guy, according to his environment, plays crystal lattice. Then this automatically becomes magnetic field reflector. Because what you do not see is this structure underneath, which if you look at it, in reality, it's very much like this. It's a total reflector. So if you have these problems and you understand that in the plasma state this does not exist, but what exists is this, that is of the carbon. It's a plasma state, magnetic field state. That collection behaves as a spherical entity and reflector. Creation of field reflectors is one of the ways to converge or diverge magnetic fields. I hope I answered you. And you have understood there's no much other way I can tell you, because in the space you need this. You need suddenly to create a deuterium reflectors when you go into high speed, or you get hit by high rays coming from deep space.
Mr. Kesh, would this crystal state be dynamic, or would it?
Of course.
It wouldn't look like the crystals that we have on planet Earth that everybody, uses.
It's the
Like
behavior of crystal. When we say
right.
crystal structure, it behaves as crystal. It manifests itself, but it's not in fact in a plasma condition, in a crystal condition. It's the behavior of the
Right.
reflection of the field and absorption of the field.
Well, I
Have
remember
you
seeing
a crystal in your hand and you see how the rays break up and changes, depends how you put it, how you reflect the light in it. So we're talking about the plasma reflection. We're not talking about matter state reflection. It's totally two different things.
Thank you. Okay.
If you want to think of it, it's like a hollow ball, which is shaped by field strength that nothing can get out of it. It says you bounce yourself to one wall, it bounces back to the other side, and you bounce up and down. You don't go in a space that you can get out of it. Crystal structure energy systems are one of the best ways of transportation. Don't forget, as we enter a new dimension of teaching, more of us understand the work of the soul and everything else, new products will appear. People will come up with new materials that we can see. and then you can see crystal structures.
Do these crystal structures you're talking about exist around us all the time, or is this a special circumstance?
No, it exists all the time.
It's just
Don't
a
forget,
matter of, sorry.
because of it, we do not see a lot of things which are in front of us. Partially, our eye works this way. The little hole in your eye, working in the gans liquid of the eye, and the gans matter state of entities behind the eye, what we call the wall of it, creates this condition.
Yeah, I think they're talking about proteins as crystals now too. The amino acids and so on in the eye are, when it comes right down to it, are probably in this crystal state, structure state, not necessarily physicality, but.
No, this is part of the structure. We always refer to things as they are in a physical shape. When we talk about the crystal structure in the plasma dimension, is that it reflects anything which comes to it. They call it crystal lattice structure when it comes to matter state of it. You cannot have bread if there wasn't a seed of bread that it could, what you call as a wheat, that you could have allowed the wheat to grow, that you could have the bread. It depends which part of the process you want to do. You say, no, there's nothing exists, but I know there's a field of wheat behind the wall. And if you push it, you can have it as a bread on the table, and you still don't know what's still waiting. Somebody might do something with the barn behind. We have to be able to use everything we have in all dimensions, because they all behave the same.
We have a question from Christina again. Have you come up with a way to measure field strength and give it some sort of naming convention? Could we associate these with the strength of emotions?
Humans, laughter. We are the best converters, but we never understand it. We convert the energy of the soul of the man to what we like with the filter of the emotion.
You mentioned laughter. You mean like when we're sort of overwhelmed by a certain emotion and that produces the laughter? It's a
yes, if you look
response.
at it, if you look at it in reality, I'm going to show you something. I taught this years ago and nobody understood. Maybe today is the time to do it. Hallelujah. This is your brain. If you have any left that is working properly, irradiated by Fukushima and the rest, and this is your soul. Let's make your brain grow. And as your brain grows, these emotional lines, they go that way. And some in the interaction come this way. It's the same. Here, let's say it's 10 Tesla. Here is 1 Tesla. Here is 0.2 Tesla. For somebody else, the same place is 9 Tesla, 11 Tesla, and 1 Tesla. The only difference between you and him and here is that the environment of the GANs of this is slightly different than this, even though they're together in the restaurant. The strength meets a barrier, we call it emotion, and then it discharges, and we know this is pain. The strength of the motion hits the barrier here, we call it laughter. We have to find the strength of our soul, and then we can understand how our strength can be given to the others, that they can grow. Any other question? Shamil Jalal reads the Arabic version of the Earth Council. I think it's
Sure. Yes, we have that recorded, and if he's here, he can also comment on it. We also have Thomas, who's offered to share his plasma pod, which is, he says, is relevant to the medium of transfer of fields. I've seen his plasma pod a couple of days ago, and that's that could be interesting to have a look at if you wish. But okay.
Also, Joseph from the German community has a question.
We have a lot of microphone noise there. I guess it's okay now. I think you just had to get it organized. Yes, there was a question. He had his hand up earlier and made a comment that he had a question that he would like to present to you. But do you want to do Jalal right now? Jalal's presentation?
Let's
okay.
answer.
Okay, let's see if we can get, is he lined up here as a panelist? Let's see here.
Do you mean me? Yes, but
Yes.
I written the question in the chat and we have got all answers because the knowledge has to rise and we have tomorrow a meeting and can discuss this whole topic. So there are no further questions. Thank you, Mr. Cash.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
You see, we knew the soul had a question.
And the soul's question always gets answered. Eh?
Okay, let's have
Jalal's presentation. Okay.
So,
Jalal, are you available to set up this presentation?
He introduces it in the recording.
Yeah, he mentioned he might like to do a live
Okay.
intro of it, so I'm just trying to see if he's available. Jalal, can you speak now, or maybe it's not a good time?
Not very good time, sorry.
Okay, good, thank you. We'll just play the video, I guess. Have you got that lined up? Clint,
Yes. Yes, I do.
Okay, perfect. Then let's roll them, as they say.
let us explain that Jalal is the reading the Universal Council, the Earth Council in Arabic, if I'm correct, or is it the Universal Council?
I believe this one is the Earth Council reading.
Yes.
We had another version of it from Jamila some time ago.
I think he mentioned it was from Jamila.
We done that, me and Jamila, and I read it on behalf of Jamila here.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jalal. I am from Iraq, and I am a member of Cash Family, World and Universe Wide. And I am knowledge seeker and supporter of Cash Foundation, and I am a teacher of plasma knowledge in Arabic. I am honored to read Earth Council Constitution in Arabic in behalf of Universal Council member Jamila. Start. تحية لكم، تحية سلام ومحبة أينما كنتم ومتى سمعتم. طاب وقتكم بكل خير. أنا اسمي جلال من العراق. أنا عضو من عائلة كاش على نطاق الأرض والكون، وأنا أيضا باحث في علم البلازما، وأيضا مناصر لهذه المؤسسة، مؤسسة كاش لعلوم الفضاء. وأنا أيضا مدرس علم البلازما العام للغة العربية في المؤسسة. كل فخر واعتزاز بأن أنوب عن عضو المجلس الكوني السيدة جميلة بقراءة هذا الدستور على مسامعكم. أفريقيا، آسيا، أوروبا، أستراليا، شمال أمريكا وجنوب أمريكا، كوكب واحد متحدين في سلام. نحن نفوس جميع الكائنات المتصلة بالكوكب الأزرق الأرض أنشأنا دستور كوكب الأرض الأزرق. أمة واحدة، كوكب واحد، وعرق واحد. دستور. لقد أنشأ مجلس الأرض ليضمن من خلاله منح حقوق متساوية لجميع الكائنات. لن يكون هناك أي نزاع أو حرب أخرى على هذا الكوكب أو ما بعده من قبل أي من الكائنات الحية والمواطنين. إن نهاية الحرب وإحلال السلام ستتحقق من خلال فهم إمكانيات جميع الكائنات التي أنشئت. إن الطريق إلى الأمام من أجل السلام يجب أن يكون مفهوما. إن الحلول تتحقق من خلال الحوار ورفاهية روح الخصم، وليس من خلال دمار أو تحطيم روح الآخر أو وجوده المادي. إن السلام يجب أن يكون هدفا لكل تحرك من وجود كل كائن على هذا الكوكب. وسيكون المجلس حامل العلم لهذا الاقتراح لتهيئة بيئة يمكن فيها تحقيق السلام على الأرض. السلام يجب أن يكون حجر الزاوية في الوجود بين أولئك الذين هم من هذا الكوكب أو ممن اختار العيش على هذا الكوكب، أو أولئك الذين هم من الأرض واختار العيش في الفضاء. يجب أن تصبح الأرض مهد السلام لتطور جميع الأجناس. نحن مجلس الأرض ندرك بأن الأرض هي جزء من النظام الشمسي، المجرة، الكون والكون المتعدد. وعلى هذا النحو فإن كوكب الأرض يحتاج إلى أن يصبح جزء من دورة الخلق من خلال دعم الكوكب وجميع الكائنات التي تعيش عليه لترتقي وترفع نفسها إلى ما بعد دورة التطور الحالية، إلى وجود أكثر رفاهية وسلام. ونحن ندرك بأن أمنا الأرض هي كيان حي له روحه الخاصة. كل صنف ذرة إلى النباتات والحيوانات والبشر والحشرات والميكروبات وغيرها، وجميع تلك التي لم يتم اكتشافها. وكذلك حقول كوكب الأرض هي النفوس التي تشترك في جوهر الخالق. معا نحن الجميع نتشكل لنكون الروح الجماعية للكوكب. ونحن ندرك بأن جميع الكائنات الأخرى على هذا الكوكب تحتاج إلى دعم ورعاية والسماح للازدهار في السلام، بما في ذلك الحيوانات والنباتات والنظم البيئية وغيرها من الكائنات غير المرئية، وكذلك أمنا الأرض نفسها. وسوف يدعم الجميع لنمو والازدهار، وهذا يعزز دور الحياة ليس فقط على هذا الكوكب، ولكن كل من المجموع الكلي كما مسلم به نحن جزء من الجميع. التعاون المتبادل والاشتراك والمشاركة والمساهمة في رفاهية الجميع ينبغي أن يكون هو التعهد الأساسي لمجلس الأرض. هدفنا هو دعم كوكب الأرض ككل وجميع الذين يعيشون فوقه، وسوف نعمل على خلق بيئة من الرعاية والوئام بين كل الكائنات تمكنهم من النمو والازدهار بطريقتهم الخاصة. ستة أعضاء في مجلس الأرض، ويمثل كل قارة من الأرض عضواً واحد، هي أفريقيا وآسيا وأستراليا وأوروبا وأمريكا الشمالية وأمريكا الجنوبية. ويمثل كل عضو احتياجات ورغبات الشعوب التي تعيش في قارتها، فضلاً عن مجموع الكائنات التي تقيم فيها. عملية الاختيار: يجب أن يكون الأعضاء قد عاشوا على قارتين على الأقل، ويتحدثون لغتين على الأقل، ويتيح ذلك منظوراً أوسع للفهم عند التعامل مع مراعاة حيادات البشرية جمعاء. وضوح النفوس: الأعضاء الستة من مجلس الأرض هنا للخدمة عبر فهم نفوسهم من خلال تجسيدهم المادي. تكليف مجلس الأرض: دعم وخدمة وتوفير وحماية. نتيح لأنفسنا الفهم بأن القوة هي التحكم في أنفسنا والتفاعل مع النفوس الأخرى وخلق التعايش السلمي. نوايانا هو إخراج أفضل ما في كل الأرواح الحية على هذا الكوكب الأزرق الذي نسميه الأرض. إعطاء مظاهر روحنا في الحياة الجسدية، حرية العيش في سلام وحب ومحبة على هذا الكوكب وفي الفضاء. تمنياتنا أن تكون جميع الكائنات الحية من الخلق تعيش في سلام ووئام وانسجام وهدوء. لقد حان الوقت للوصول إلى الموارد وتقاسمها بشكل منصف بين جميع الكائنات. سيقوم مجلس الأرض بخدمة ودعم جميع الكائنات لتوفير ما يلي: 1. حرية تكوين الجمعيات. 2. حرية التعبير. 3. حرية التنقل. 4. التحرر من الجوع. 5. التحرر من نقص الموارد. 6. حرية استكشاف الطريق لفهم روحنا. 7. تحرير التعلم. 8. حرية الإسهام في المجتمع وفقا ومواهبنا وبما يتوافق معنا. 9. حرية الاختيار من خلال روحنا وكيف ومتى نريد بيان أنفسنا جسديا أم لا. 10. حرية أن لا نكون ملكا للآخرين. 11. التحرر من القمع لأي تكنولوجيا جديدة ومبتكرة من أجل التطبيقات السلمية. 12. حرية المشاركة. 13. حرية الفكر. 14. حرية الحب والعطاء. 15. حرية الاختيار. 16. حرية اللغة. 17. التحرر من نظام نقدي. 18. التحرر من العقاب لا للسبي أو تنفيذ إعدامات. 19. التحرر من الصراعات والحروب. 20. التحرر من الخوف من الآخرين الذين ينكر علينا هذه الحريات. يجب أن لا تكون هناك حدود وطنية أو إقليمية، ولا تمييز بين الألوان والأجناس أو المعتقدات، وغياب كلي لجميع التحيزات الثقافية أو الحواجز المالية التي تفرق بعضها البعض أو تعطي ميزة غير عادلة لواحدة دون الأخرى. لن تكون هناك عناوين وراثية أو أدوار قيادية موروثة تشمل الملكية أو الدكتاتورية الأسرية أو الملوك لأي عنوان. لن يكون هناك خوف من عقاب على أي جريمة. إن رفع مستوى أولئك الذين يرتكبون أخطاء سيسمح بإلغاء جميع أشكال السجن وعقوبات الإعدام، ومن خلال التعليم وتقاسم المعرفة على مستوى الروح جميع الكائنات سوف ترتقي بنفسها. العقوبة ليس لها مكان على مستوى الروح في فهم شدة المجال الخاص بها، وليس من الضروري وجود نظام نقدي وتبادل السلع والخدمات مقابل العمل. وسوف نخلق بيئة حيث المال ليس له مكان في المجتمع، حيث يتم تلبية جميع الاحتياجات المادية لجميع الكائنات. سوف يصبح إتمام العمل لتحقيق المتعة لأنفسنا وللآخرين. أن نهاية النظام النقدي سيجلب عصرا بشرا أصحاء وحبا حقيقي بين الجميع على هذا الكوكب الأزرق الأرض. يجب أن يكون العمل من أجل الاستمتاع الحقيقي به أو السرور في خدمة الآخرين والارتقاء بروح الآخرين وكذلك أنفسنا. كل أولئك الذين يرغبون في العمل كصانع قرار وموجهين يمكنهم التقدم للخدمة بعد فهم روحهم والحصول على موافقة الآخرين، وأنها قد تؤدي الدور المطلوب. الارتقاء والتفاهم يتيحان لنا التعرف على نقاط القوة الفريدة في هذا المجال. معرفة الروح تمكنهم من خدمة الآخرين والاعتراف بقوة البشرية جمعاء. وهذا سوف يساعد على تنوير والهام وارتقاء الآخرين. القيادة تأتي من روح الإنسان وباتفاق الآخرين للخدمة. نحن نحترم هيئة وأشكال جميع الكائنات في هذا الكوكب الأزرق الأرض وغيره، ولكل كائن على كوكب الأرض نفس الحريات. تلك الحرية هي العيش في سلام مع الآخرين في بيئة من الكرامة والاحترام المتبادلين، وللجميع حرية اختيار العيش بالطريقة التي يرغبون فيها، مثل ما يراعي احترام الآخرين. يجب دعم جميع الكائنات على كوكب الأرض لتمكينهم من العيش دون ندرة. الحاجات الأساسية مثل المأوى والمياه والغذاء والسلامة والمواد وحرية استخدام الطاقة في الميدان، الأرض أو الموارد العالمية يجب أن تكون من الأولويات، فضلاً عن السلام والاستقرار للسماح بالرفاهية العاطفية والسعي إلى التنوير. الاعتراف بمختلف التنوع باعتباره التعبير الفريد والمتنوع عن الخالق وإرادته، ليتم احتضانه والاحتفاء به كعامل ثراء في حياتنا. يجب دعم كل كائن وتشجيعه لكسب المعرفة. إن الإنسانية على وجه الخصوص تحتاج إلى حرية استكشاف وفهم هذه المعرفة دون الحاجة إلى العمل باستمرار من أجل البقاء. لأول مرة في تاريخ الإنسان، مع الإرادة الحرة لمستوى الروح، التعلم سوف يبدأ في معرفة الروح في سن مبكرة. إيجاد الأدوات اللازمة لكي يصبحوا مستقلين ومسؤولين عن أنفسهم يجب أن يكون ذات أولوية، فإن روح الكائنات تملي وتحكم بطريقة مسؤولة، طريقة حياة حقة صحيحة وعادلة لصالح كل الخلق في تدابير متساوية. وعندما تحدث الكوارث الطبيعية يجب أن نساعد جميع الشعوب المنطقة دون التمييز بينهم ودعم جميع، وهذا يشمل أيضا فهم النظم البيئية. كوكب الأرض وما تحتاجه جميع الكائنات في دورة حياتها هو تقاسم الموارد في وقت الرفاهية وفي أوقات الكوارث. وعندما ينشأ صراع يجب أن نتفاوض على نتيجة سلمية لجميع الأطراف. يجب أن تعطي البشرية جمعاء سلاما دائما، ولا يمكن تحقيق ذلك إلا عند أخذ جميع الأطراف في عين الاعتبار. جميع الكائنات تستحق الحماية من الأذى الجسدي والعاطفي. عملية اتخاذ القرار. منع تقويض الأغلبية لحرية الأقلية. يتم التوصل إلى التوافق في الآراء من خلال الحوار ورفع روح الإنسان. كل قرار يجب أن يفيد الجميع. يتم احترام كل كائن ومعاملته معاملة عادلة وعلى قدم المساواة في جميع الجوانب. نفوس الكائنات ستتعامل مع الأحداث بطريقة سلمية. يجب أن يكون هدفنا الدائم هو إحلال السلام على كوكب الأرض وجميع من يعيشون فيه. إن تلبية احتياجات الجميع هي السبيل الوحيد لتحقيق ذلك. دعوة. ندعو جميع الكائنات من أصغرها إلى أكبرها للاحتفال واختبار طعم احتضان السلام والحب والثقة والحرية. جميع الكائنات هنا لرفع أعلى مستوى من الإنسان ووعي الجميع للارتقاء بالنفس. جميع الأرواح تخلوا عن أسلحة العدوان والكراهية والاختلافات، ودعونا نأخذ السلام والطمأنينة على هذا الكوكب الأزرق المسمى الأرض. جميع الكائنات الحية سوف تعيش في وئام مع كل الإبداعات على هذا الكوكب الأزرق الذي سمي الأرض وفي جميع أنحاء الكون. التوجيه هو المبدأ المناسب للسلوك البدني حتى يحين الوقت لروح الإنسان فهم عملها ومكانها في داخل حدود مبادئ الكون. الروح تستحق أن تعرف كل شيء عن اختلاف مستويات الخلق. كل النفوس الحية لديها حرية المساواة للعيش في سلام وازدهار هنا على وجه الأرض وما وراء ذلك. نفوس جميع الكائنات تبرز أفضل المواهب والقوة والجمال لمشاركتها مع الجميع لتزهر في كل الخلق. استعادة القوة. قوة الروح هي التي تحكم جميع الكائنات الحية هنا على وجه الأرض، القوة التي لا تكذب على أي قادة أو كيانات لغرض السيطرة أو السيطرة على الآخرين، ولكن هي القوة التي تأتي من داخلنا على شكل الحب وإعطاء والسلام والحب والنعيم والحرية للآخرين. هذا الدستور الدنيوي هو أفضل نية للسلام والحب والثقة وحرية نفوذ جميع الكائنات الحية بما في ذلك الكيانات الأخرى في جميع أنحاء الخلق. هذا الدستور هو تمكين جميع الكائنات للقيام بالشيء الصحيح مع المسرة بالعمل والخدمة جنبا إلى جنب مع النفوس الأخرى لرؤية جمال الخالق. إن هذا الدستور سلس ويمكن تعديله في أي وقت حيث تنشأ الحاجة. على سبيل المثال سلوك الإنسان للتعايش السلمي ومعاهدة السلام بين الإنسان والإنسان، لا حروب أو أي شكل من أشكال العدوان على هذا الكوكب الأزرق الذي نسميه الأرض، والاتصال مع كيانات أخرى من مناطق مختلفة من الأكوان. يجري تحديد دستور كوكب الأرض الأزرق في كانون 2 يناير من كل عام. إضافة، ومن المتوقع أن يكون هذا القسم فارق لإجراء التغييرات الإضافية في المستقبل حسب الحاجة للحفاظ على سلام دائم على هذا الكوكب الأزرق الأرض وما وراءها. كتبته أرواح شعوب الكوكب الأزرق الأرض ويمثل أعضاء مجلس الأرض أليكس إكبرن، بارويز راشفند، مهران كاش، ليزا ماكدونالد، وين نوين، رودريغو فيلوسو. البريد الإلكتروني لجهة الاتصال peace@theearthcouncil.org. هذا ولكم مني أطيب تحية. شكرا لكم.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jalal. Okay. Mr. Kesh, are you still there? Maybe busy for a couple of minutes or something there. Okay, well, I did receive some pictures, and once we get back with Mr. Kesh, maybe we can have a look at what's called the plasma pod. I'll get that set up in the background.
Okay, let's look at it and see.
Okay, just a second here. Okay, let me get my screen sharing. Okay, this is the first picture. There's 3 pictures here, 3 views of the plasma pod. And perhaps Thomas can come in and describe a bit about this and his experience and the experience of others with this plasma pod. Thomas, are you there? Are you able to talk? We might have to get you, actually we have to,
Yeah, he should be.
let me promote you.
He's here already.
Oh, right. Can you hear us, Thomas? I'll try to unmute you and see if that works.
Oh, I'm here. Thank you.
Yes, good. Hi.
Hello. Hello, Mr. Kesh.
Hello.
This is Thomas from Winnipeg, Canada. And I've been a student of the foundation for about a year now. And the unit you see in the first picture, I kind of just dreamt it basically because I was just getting into the knowledge. And after 2 months, I had the idea to go build this. And it was for my mother that has an interesting health condition with a brain aneurysm that's inoperable with their current understanding. So I was hoping that this could do something for her, if not just alleviate her pain. And it's been an amazing experience for the last year and a half that I've had this unit up and running, and about 30 people, maybe 40 people have gone in it, and some pretty amazing outcomes. But I guess I mentioned this, how the transfer of fields goes through the air versus the water state. And I designed it with 2 flows, a gravitational connecting to magnetical, and each of the tubes are spaced about 1 inch apart from each other. And there's 72 windings from both flows, and it's hooked up to a DC pump that powers the whole unit. And when I first had it on, it was so strong that anywhere inside the house, it was just reverberating throughout my entire body. So I wanted to see how far I could feel it. And I walked outside and I went down the block and I was still able to feel it with it on. So, but I guess my question in relation to the beginning of discussion is, how can we use something like this to create an environment for a reactor technology? And could I use this tubular design, or should you incorporate a more spherical for setups?
Can you explain to us what was the condition of your mother and what was the outcome?
So she didn't know what she had when it was first all happening, but she started to suffer from minor strokes. And it's probably one of the scariest moments I've ever seen. It was just her not knowing what was going on and her just blacking out and falling down. And she was in a coma for a day, and that's when they kind of realized that it was something within her own brain structure. And it's a intersecting brain aneurysm. One of her arteries is only one layer, and so anytime she has stress or increase of inflammation or pressure, she was suffering from these episodes, and she actually lost her her speech for about 6 months. And so it's been about 7 years since, and it's stable at the moment, but she suffers heavily from it. Tremendous amount of pain in her brain, and she actually gets Botox injections for her pain once every 3 months to help her cope with it. So she was actually only able to go inside this unit for 45 seconds, and she wanted out. And it's kind of a interesting situation, but she still hasn't gone in it since. So she's sensitive to the energy. When I spin just a little sphere, like a little ping pong ball, she feels it inside of her and she's like really affected by it. So I guess it's just the sensitivity to her that she can probably only handle so much of the strength.
What have you filled in these tubes?
I just the only thing I kind of was hoping to do was have a lot of the fields present. So I went with ocean GANs because it's got the GANs of water in it, along with CO2 and zinc and some others. So I haven't really experimented with anything else besides that. And it's actually, it's worked for a lot of healing, but I'm looking probably to try more experiments with energy and flight and production of materials with it.
It's a very interesting system. I used to make a miniature version of this, but in a different way usage. It's a very, very interesting system. Depends what you do with it, how you create it, what flows inside it.
I did do an experiment with sprouts, and the sprouts that were in the center of it, I did the north and south entry, and the sprouts right in the center with the pod on. I did it with the pod off for about 20 minutes, and it was a vast difference with the sprouts inside the center with the pod on. I did it without the pod off, outside the pod, a few feet away underneath, and the one at the sprouts inside the center were about 200% bigger in growth than the controls, and the controls were about maybe 30 feet or 10 yards away. So they're still getting affected by it, but it was a vast difference. The root length was pretty extreme too. It was maybe 200, 300% more. And they lasted about a week longer. I just let them go and see how long they would stay green. And that one actually died, but it still had the green in it. So it was pretty a stark contrast.
Do you have any pictures of it?
I would have to pull those up, but I don't have those readily available at the moment. But I did have a interesting moment with I guess you would call it zero-time communication. I was traveling last year, working with the technology, and I walked outside of the my hotel room, and I was walking down towards the elevator, and I was hearing a little girl cry. She may have been 3 years old, and it was really strange. It was about 8 o'clock at night, and all you could hear was this little girl crying down the hallway. And I walked past the door, and still no parents were coming to calm her down. So I turned around, put my hands out, and I was just sending her my love. And for 30 seconds, I stood there and did this about 6 feet away from their hotel door, and I started to feel the room spin, and then it's sort of all that energy came within me, and I felt that same flow in the pod. I've actually felt the two flows. I felt the bottom half spin one way, and then my top half spin the other way, and I'm guessing that was from me tuning into this. I believe it does create that that sort of vacuum condition where you're operating in that higher that strength of field.
It's very interesting.
Also, I sent a video. I don't know if you checked that out yet, Rick, but probably the most amazing experience was a beloved dog we had. She passed away. We don't really know what happened to her. I'm guessing it was some sort of rupture in her brain because it was just an immediate downturn in her health. And she lost full mobility for 2 days. And I tried to put her in before, but she didn't want to go in. So when she was unable to move, I was able to put her in there. And she was only in it for 30 minutes. And about 10 minutes in, you can see her chest muscles in the video start to fire and twitch. So that was a really good sign to see some sort of reaction. It was kind of what I was hoping for. And I know you mentioned that there's this threshold. If your field strength reaches a certain point, you'll sort of lose or step out of that working state. So yeah, that's Jasmine. And so yeah, she was just laying there, and I have a few other videos of her, and
There's
she's
another dog that's wondering kind of what's going on there or something.
yeah, everyone was really concerned about her, and she was in a lot of pain too, I think. But anyways, later that day, she actually regained full mobility, and she did something that was completely out of the norm, and that was she was running around the backyard like she was a puppy again. I guess she was so happy to have her mobility back. And she was 12 years old and a bigger dog. So during the last few years, she would only go one step up at a time for each paw. And it would take her maybe, 5 seconds to walk the 3 steps. But at that moment, she had so much energy. She hopped the 3 steps, and I don't remember the last time I saw her do that. It was probably 3 or 4 years ago, if not more. So
The beauty with this technology is that we all can try. We all can create a new dimension in the knowledge, and in so many ways there is no limitation. We are realizing gradually people are moving into a new way of what you call helping themselves with the health application. And the beauty with it is that we do our best. We bring a new knowledge, and we'll see brings a change. And in so many ways, there is no legislation for you to what you do in your home and how you give yourself a chance, or your family, or your animals, or your plants. But the beauty of it is to share and to see it has worked, it does work. One thing man has to realize, and this is the strange thing, many times this experience has come to me hundreds of times, and it's a puzzle in the whole structure of the life, the creation of man, is that you get people coming to you with the most horrendous ways of illnesses and whatever, that they see an end to their physical term of presence, and they want to have more of the same suffering. I hardly have seen anyone who comes and says, if you can make my passage peaceful. They all come to get the extension. Like, I would like to live more. In any excuses, I have grandchildren, I have a lover, I have this, I have that. And I never heard anyone says, I want to stay for extra time to be able, now that I know I have time where I come from, to add to the level of my soul, to strengthen my soul, as we saw in the video, that I can create a better life for those who I give life to after I leave the physical dimension. They all want one more breath, one more day, one more week to be here, to be with physicality. And this has been one of the biggest puzzles. And it's in the writings, as if you knew how beautiful the other side is, you all would have committed suicide. I think it's in the writing of Baha'u'llah Blessed name. The beauty of the other side is that you become a creator. You are given a chance to create, to be a lover, to give life. We are so locked into the dimension of physicality that we only see life in the dimension of physicality. We don't realize what is the beauty. The beauty is when you give life in the dimension that you become the creator of a new cycle of life. And it's very, very strange. Very strange how we want to add to one more breath. I have not seen, I have not found an answer to it, but it's very strange how people do. We want to hang on to this physical dimension. As I said, I have no attachment, whatever my name will be. And this detachment brings a lot of peaceful state of mind. And when we learn this, it becomes a passage through the life of the universe. We are going through another phase. And when you do this, when you put a dog that comes back and lives better, it's the dimension, it decides itself. I take the condition changes, I move with it. But at the end of the day, the reality is there is an end point to every physical dimension. It does not matter if it's a man, a dog, a star, universe, galaxies. Once we understand this, even in deep space, at the end there is an end in the conformation of existence in the given dimension, given the strength of the field.
Thank you, Mr. Kesh.
It's a beautiful system you made this. I know to make this, even just I was looking at, to get so many beams precisely drilled the way you have, and then get the pipes through it. I used to do these things, it takes ages. It's the belief in the knowledge that gives the strength to do these kind of things. The conditions with coma and condition to reach these points in many ways comes from the flow of the fields within the brain, and in many ways there's always a solution. and you can always build up any misbalances within the structure of the brain of the man, even if the parts of the brain is missing, or the brain has a thin wall, or any shape or form, any information they give you. Coma comes from the dimension of switch, the point of the switch, and that switch means there is not enough information to trigger the physical motion, the part of the soul of the man. And it waits till it comes back. It's very much what we do with the sleep. When we go to sleep, there is not enough information created by the brain to trigger the cells of the body to become operative. We need, let's say, 10 milliamps. The body is providing only 3 milliamps. It's enough to keep the backward system, or what I call it, backup system running, but not enough to make it active. It's a standby condition. And the beauty of it is that the world of science, medicine, has not understood this. And if you understand this, you can create a condition to bypass the system, which means you can bring any person into life through the soul of the man, not through the dimension neural system of the man. So with what you can do, you can bring anyone out of coma. I have the knowledge. If we didn't have the case which is running in Belgium, I'd teach it every person. But the most stupid thing is, the man who can bring people out of coma now has become a criminal. I want to see when any scientist in the world can do what I do. I've shown it to Naomi. Being a scientist, to be able to give life is criminal by the eye of the criminals. This is one of the wonders of my life. How can a man who knows how to give life has become a criminal? Instead of being encouraged to teach more. This is the what I call curse of a nation. If you look in what we've done, in the case in Belgium, the biggest case the judge has made a decision is, I have given life back to a woman which has been in a coma dying. They put criminals who kill into prison, not the scientists who give life. Damn the nation. There should be no nation called Belgium. Do you know how many mothers and fathers and children are losing their loved ones because of this? Where it could have been coming out and a lot of people have it. That nation should not exist. When you tell me your mother goes into coma, if we had the dimension to teach, it takes less than 30 minutes to bring anybody out of coma. I've done it. No one should suffer in these kind of things. But our world is going backwards. A bunch of criminals have taken over the running of the nations. A bunch of what I can call real criminals. What is interesting, I would like you to do something now you brought this subject up. Go on Keshe Foundation YouTube videos and watch something very, very interesting. And you understand how criminality runs the world at the moment. The guy who went to the court and claimed that his hand is paralyzed and the rest of it, he has given videos in opening of Nino, opening of Chani, and how he praised the science and how he's got his hand back, and the hand which is claimed in the court to be paralyzed, he uses the hand to teach. Very strange how he managed to fool the court. The link is in the Keshe Foundation YouTube. Go and watch it. And nobody ever went to the judge or to the court to say, excuse me, this guy's lying and he's happy that he got €1. We send this video to European Court of Justice and the criminals has accepted it. So it shows how much the judge is a criminal compared to everything else and how they have faked everything. Read and you see on him putting his case up that he won €1. Go and have a look at how he has faked it in the court. And how in Nino, he shows, explains for 15-20 minutes with the hand so openly and everything else that there he claims. Have you seen these, what I call beggars on the streets? With the leg missing and they push themselves on the trolley. They're begging, I don't have a leg, and at the minute the policeman comes out, the leg jumps out and they run. This is what it is. We are submitting these videos for evidence, and the same that they say whatever. I have no regrets in being able to bring a life back, and when Christ did it was a miracle. When Keshe does it, is a terrorist and criminal, because a bunch of pedophiles are running the nations. A bunch of criminals are running the nations. When you tell me what is wrong with your mother, as I do not practice anymore helping people, I can save the life of your mother in a few minutes. I know exactly where the problem is. But you're suffering because of conduct of the bunch of criminals. I do regret I cannot help you, but I understand where the problem is. And in the video of the what we call Universal Council, you see the picture of Naomi. And we have sent the evidence to the court. Anybody can do, which I can. They called him Christ. I've done it double, and I've done it many, many times. Since when life saviors is a criminal act? We should have been free to teach that in any hospital, anyone in a coma could have been brought back. And now it's a criminal offense, so you suffer. I do feel sorry for you and many people who you know in coma with epileptic attack and all sorts of brain damages. This is a gift from a criminal king to humanity. Damn the nation and his kingdom. That nation will not exist. Because I feel your suffering and I feel what you feel, but unfortunately I can't help you. It's not that I don't want to. It's if I do, most probably your government makes it another criminal act. This is the strangest thing, since knowledge, saving a life, has become criminal offense. Instead of understanding more. Those who were...
Sorry.
I'm not gonna give up on helping my mother. She's stable at the moment, but ever since then the doctors have been giving her all sorts of medication, and it's only led to more and more complications. But I know the technology.
I do apologize. To do it is extremely simple. You have to understand that every cell of the body of the man, even if its coordinates in the RNA and DNA is missing, can be adjusted and be corrected. You have to understand the position of the field within the body of the man. You have to understand the position of the field and where there is a need for interaction. The strangest thing which you might be able to understand is you have gone very big with this system. You should have gone very small, and you would have allowed the tissue to grow. As we say in English, there are horses for courses. You have to understand what to do and what's going on with it, and how you can grow the brains. The process has to be understanding that the cells of the brain of the man are not destroyed, or the blood vessels, or the neural system which comes from it. But they can be strengthened, they can replicate. And it's just that the field has changed that manifests itself in a new condition. And we should be able to do this. You should be able to walk your mother out of this situation. It's not the lack of the knowledge, is that understanding how to apply the knowledge. You look at the after effect, where you have to go to the source of the effect and the reason for it. You have opened the field too much. When you have a headache, you don't bandage your leg. And this is exactly these kind of things are. Understand it. In your talk, you said exactly where the problem is, but somehow you're not aware of it, that's where you got to work. And you can walk your mother out of it in no time. It'll take me 2 months. But unfortunately, I do not help the man anymore.
Thank you for explaining that further.
Thank you very much. I'll let the man suffer, because that's what the man has chosen. We choose our rulers, so we deserve them.
Mr. Keshe, there's something else associated with that country that might be more fun to look at, which was, I think you have some pictures of a car. Would you like to present that today, or do we have enough time in the next 10 minutes or so? You have to leave, I believe. I haven't, but I think Stanley has the pictures, I was told.
I have a video. Yes, I have a video.
Okay, let me explain to you this car. This is the first flying car ever developed. This is this car is an old car of Caroline. Was in a garden, parked, going nowhere. And I said to Caroline, I would like to make it to fly. So we asked the mechanic, because there is no need for an engine, to take the engine out, the central column taken out, the fuel tank is taken out, and there is no need for anything else which goes with the car, because at that time we were doing some research with one of the universities in Belgium, that we knew if you reach 200 kilogram, there is appropriate weight that you can stand the crosswind. This car was to be shown on 26th of November 2011 in Eindhoven. And as I said, the hypocrisy about the coma, that you save somebody's life, is criminal. The same thing happened. This is the mentality of this damnation. That they came, I explained to, they knew we were going to show it because the tickets were shown on 26th of November in Eindhoven. On 25th, the Belgian officer, the same guy who's now tried to kill us and everything else with it, who's now has given evidence to court. He came and he said, I said, can I ask you a question? You want to seize my materials, radiation materials, which if I'm a criminal, you have to arrest me and take it. They put my radiation materials in a box and left it with me in the lab, literally to humiliate me. But as we saw with Alex, where the telephone call led to such a beautiful thing, the confiscation of this materials and leave it with me led to not being able to show this flying car. And the plan was, we were agreeing, we agreed with the presenters, which was a magazine in Holland. If you came to the Eindhoven show, that the car will fly with a live camera off the back of the car, because we couldn't, what do you call it, fly it all the way from Belgium to Holland. And then it'll fly into the auditorium and it will land on the stage. And they closed, they came, the guy said, do you have a flying license? I said, no. He said, this stays. I'd never seen a nation locking down the technology. Damn the nation. When I see these things, just look at it. This is the actual car. All parts taken out. Can you show it?
Can you turn down the audio, please, Stanley, to keep it low, because it'll be very loud on the Zoom. Thank you.
Can you play it, please? And put the noise up, because there's some talking in the background with this. You have to listen to it. Can you increase the voice?
Off.
Start from
The car. Today is 25th of November 2011. It's for the first time we show the engine room of the car which can fly. The engine has been taken out, the gearbox is out. These vehicles in the future do not need any more engines. So this is what we've been saying, that our flying car has been modified because the engine is a part we do not need, and we had to reset and reorganize the brake system that we could use it at least without losing fuel. The interesting is that the engine stays the same, and I'll show you the interior of the car. The interesting is even the fuel tank for fun has been brought in. Usually the fuel tank is at the bottom of the car. You can see the radiator and then bottom is out. The gravitational system sits in the middle of the system, and in reality we still kept the gearbox, the stick, for the fun of it, but that is a total control system. You don't need any further. The fuel tank is not needed, as we showed the engine was needed. Everything has been taken out, and in a way we even show these are the sensor column of the chassis, the gearbox going back to the front, the transmission line, all been taken out. So for the first time we show the actual car which has gone through this transition, and as it can be seen, there is no need for what we are used to up to now, an engine. The beauty of the future space technology.
Wow, that's great, Mr. Kesh.
This is the pictures of this car. I think if you look, you see the chassis number. After a while, we got the car to be literally crushed. I remember the day they took the car. I thought one of the most advanced cars in the world is getting out because of the greed of a king. There is no king. He's not there anymore. There won't be a nation anymore. But this is another part you're paying for. 10 years on, still man is trying to find hover mover, what do you call it, systems that they blow air. Is there another picture of the car from outside, if you have one?
No, we got just the video.
There should be a number of pictures with this. I know Caroline has been looking for this. The way this car flies and the way it was set, if you go back in the history of the work of the foundation, on the back of this car, the German government supported us to build, to take over the, what you call, Antwerp plant of General Motor, to build cars. And exactly, stop the frame there, please. Can you go back where you see the pipe? Go, yes, exactly there. Where you see exactly here is where the shock absorbers are. And the flying system sits in the shock absorbers. The central shock absorber column is replaced and is fitted with a maglev system, a very powerful small maglev system, nuclear based, which allows creation of gravitational magnetic field balance, and it's 4 of them. And then we have one just under the gearbox stick. One sits there because that brings the balance to the center. And in that process, the driver drives through emotion, what he feels. This is 7 years ago, when this car was to be shown. And if you remember, many people came to Eindhoven to see the flying car and they got disappointed. And in a way, what they said, they wanted to embarrass us. As I said, what we saw with the telephone call threatening Alex ended up with a pool and a research center in Africa. 7 days after the Eindhoven, we announced we're going to show the power. You didn't want the car to be shown. We captured the most powerful aircraft in the catalog, in the arsenal of the military, which was the American drone. I announced it on the 3rd of December, on the 4th of December it was captured. And now we see the beauty of it is that our dear scientists in Russia last week have shown they can fly it with much ease and power. The damage or the delay, or maybe that's why human race was not ready for it, it was too much, is we are paying for it. We are getting matured for it, because if it would have come out the car, it would have taken over and the more horrendous things will be made by it. But because of this delay now, more people understand, more people are taught, and we see what you call the development of the nourishing of the soul of the man, which even bypasses the car. This is obsolete to what you have learned, that you can use your own soul and understanding of the field of the soul of the man for space development. It's the first time we have shown this, and this came out of the discussion, and I asked Caroline, do you know where the tape is of the car? Nobody has ever seen it. This is in the same garden exactly where we saw the same gentleman abusively showing his private parts to my child. He was so much with anger that he could not steal it. The only person more or less who was aware of this going to be shown, it was him, and I couldn't do it. But it's pleasure. It's nice to see memory of the man, how man has destroyed when he first 2 flying cars using gravitational magnetic field. In so many ways, when we use just about on the other side where you see the grass, About 4 or 5 meters away on the other side was my lab, where I used to test flying objects. I could fly through the walls. There was no restriction. Neighbors many times complained to the police there's so much light coming that Caroline put double thick polyester black bags and then polyester to block the lights, that when I was testing flights, the lights would shine the whole down the whole, what do you call it, down the valley. But the stupidity was they couldn't see that I could go through the metal state of the roof of the garage. But it's beauty of the knowledge. And this car was kept to become antique. But unfortunately, this is the only memory of it left. The first true flying car for human race. You can show it once more, it brings back a lot of pleasure. This car led to the capture of the most advanced craft in the world. Play the voice.
Today is 25th of November 2011. It's for the first time we show the engine room of the car which can fly. The engine has been taken out, the gearbox is out. These vehicles in the future do not need any more engines. So this is what we've been saying, that a flying car has been modified because the engine is a part we do not need, and we had to reset and reorganize the brake system that we could use it at least without losing fuel. The interesting is that the engine stays the same, and I'll show you the interior of the car. The interesting is even the fuel tank for fun has been brought in. Usually the fuel tank is at the bottom of the car. You can see the radiator and the bottom is out. The gravitational system sits in the middle of the system, and in reality we still kept the gearbox, the stick, for the fun of it, but that is a total control system. You don't need any further. The fuel tank is not needed, as we showed the engine was needed. Everything has been taken out, and in a way we will show the central column. See the gearbox going back to the front, the transmission line, all been taken out to show. So for the first time we show the actual car which has gone through this transition, and as it can be seen, there is no need for what we are used to up to now, an engine. The beauty of the future is space technology.
What is interesting, if you listen, this video was taken maybe half an hour before they come and lock it up. Just maybe half an hour before. And as you see, we say we're going to be shown, and many people will understand what is going on, how much maybe we need the time to mature. We captured the American crafts. Russians now have developed a space position that no missiles can define. I'm sure the Chinese government will show more powerful ways of this technology, as they have tested and still testing. And in so many ways, our research labs have not even reached this position to be able to move a car, let alone make a spaceship, but understand it more. The size of these reactors is a ping pong ball, no more than that. And they can be positioned in and out, nobody can see. And as you say, as you've seen it, this is a first time. I think we have some pictures of it. You can see the car, but this is what it was done before. I made a video that on a Saturday in Eindhoven, we show this, and then the car comes in, flying off the back of the car through the doors, because we can control it with the millimeters, to land on the auditorium for those of you who were in Eindhoven. Now we see what the position is. And in so many ways, if that craft was not captured, Americans would not believe that we have the power to cross the nation. Really. Because they knew we captured, they believed we can do, and we were doing it, we still do it. We have to use this technology for a betterment of the man and for the peace. And it's very, very strange. Puzzles me how some of the most advanced technologies present to man has been blocked by one pedophile king. So desperately clinging to still be there. He will be there because that's the end of what they are there for. I have come to the end of the kingship. I will end up the kingship, and this is the example of it. The reason, and we just said a few minutes ago, about the child suffers with the mother suffering, and the knowledge is there to do. Thank you very much for today, and I have to leave. It's nearly past 3 hours. It'll be nice if you could play the tape which we heard done by the member of the Earth Council, preparing the humanity in so many ways for him to be independent, and that not even need the car to fly with. He can fly with this dimension of the strength of his soul through his physicality. Thank you very much. That was beautiful. I was looking for this. I knew it was found, but seeing it gives me such a pleasure to understand how advanced in science I am and how pitiful the man does not understand.
Mr. Keshe, did you mean the video from Lisa, that one that we saw earlier?
Yes, please. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. That was very inspiring with the car video there. I had no idea that you'd take it.
Last week, I have it, but I didn't know.
Yeah, that's
been
fantastic.
For this for years.
Yeah.
And it was your wish, and your wish was granted.
Yes, I think this will be the year of the flying car, one way or another.
We'll see. Thank you very much indeed.
Okay, that wraps it up for the 217th Knowledge Seekers Workshop for Thursday, March 29th, 2018. And we'll have a video to go out on here. And thank you everybody for attending. Wonderful workshop, and we'll see more of the flying car in the near future, I believe. Okay, thank you, Flint, for playing the video.
Yes, thank you.
The process of understanding is very simple. The process is, as I explained last time, I explained more in detail. We are created out of the rays within the center of the universe. In interaction and reduction in strength and division by the strength in certain strength fields, in collection of the totality of the expansion of the universe, some energies some dynamic fields have come together. Over billions of years, these fields lead to the creation of what we call the sun. Where the plasma gathers together. The same process repeats again because the sun is the same as the energy center of the universe. Now, the heavier, the larger amount of the energy which is collected in this span of the universe, we call the sun, that irradiates out, does the same thing again. Radiates fields out, and in interaction with the itself, with the fields of itself, leads to creation of planet. In that process of the creation of planet, the same process happens again. In the interaction of the fields of the earth with its environment and cooling and exchange with the strength of the other things in the environment of the space of the solar system, leads to creation of man, cell, matter state. And that itself, in coming together and slowing down in certain ways, as we call, leads to another sun. We call the soul of the man. This is the truth about the life and creation of the man. But if the soul of the man can understand and absorb and be correct with his conduct, he can become the strength of the fields and carry the strength of the field of the planet which came to this creation. And if the soul can understand with the same process, can interact, can be correct, can absorb with itself the totality of the strength of what it needs, it shall become the sun. And then the same soul has the energy that it can absorb within the solar system, within the galaxy, shall become the center of the universe. Earth, we call it the rain, come from and goes back to. In the solar system, we call it planetary system. We come from the rays, we become the planet, and we go back to the mother. The same thing happens with the galaxies, with the solar systems, which they get absorbed back in and they chewed up back into the universe. The life, the process of existence in the universe is the same. It doesn't matter on what exchange and what extent. So, what is the man fighting for? Why do we fight for something which has come from the point of the creation, and in the process it goes back to the creation? The soul of the man, as the energy of the earth gives the face of the man, the face of the earth, and that process is the same for the soul of the man. Our soul, in reduction in strength, in interaction with the emotion of the field of environment, leads to manifestation of the existence of the man. But once it's completed, does it need the face? Or can it be and becomes free from it, what we call the soul of the man, to be free and detached from its existence? Our soul is part of the process of the creation. The key to one question for man shall be in the future to be answered. As we saw the sun became the earth, and as we saw the earth became the man's soul, what would be the destiny of the soul of the man now becomes free at the point of departure from physicality. Would it become the sun for creation of another life, or many lives, or correction of lives? This shall be, and this is how it happens. When you create a soul which is not correct, which is misconduct by itself cannot give, you lead to the creation of this next cycle of creation, which has started the wrong way, the wrong strength. This is one thing the man has never understood. You become the creator of another universe, another cycle. And this is what you have to judge within the structure of the soul of the man. What would I like that cycle to be? In the physical life, we create children. In the dimension of the life of the soul of the man, what that man, what that soul will create. If man has thought up to now, that's it, my end, my point, when I die is finished, there's as much fallacy that when the sun is destroyed in any shape or form, there shall be nothing left. But we know the part of the sun becomes part of the galaxy and becomes part of new life. So shall be the soul of the man. The judgment of the man has to be according to what he sees the future his soul can conduct to be. The day of judgment is for the man, not in front of the Creator. That what my soul judges to be and what shall create. Man never understood and shall never understand till can solve this dilemma within itself. The reality is very, very, very real. And that is, as we've seen, the energy of the galaxy become the sun, the energy of the sun has become the earth, and the energy of the earth has become the soul of the man. So shall be the soul of the man, which is the energy itself, another cycle of life. How can you change when you don't understand? How can you change the process of understanding if you do not understand the process of the creation? Do we need to extend the understanding of the man that what is the future he brings? We care about our children, what education they get, what they wear, how happy they'll be, where they sleep. Now the man has to be careful and consider what life shall my soul create, because those are the children of your soul. As we see, the rays of the sun has become a planet and 7 million children on it. 7 billion unlimited, which is growing. So the soul of the man will go through the same process. How many billions and subdivisions and sub-matter state of the physicality of the man your soul shall create? Would it be the soul of wars and conflict and forever killing? Or would it be the soul of this, let's say, solar system which is peaceful? This is the truth and the reality about the soul of the man. First of all, as I said many times recently, we never understood that the soul of the man is within the structure of the man. And now that we understood, we understand on departure from the physicality of the man, the same process will carry on as it did for a star, a planet. And the soul of the man becomes another energy source, a higher order, which itself leads to the creation. It becomes the star, it becomes the center of the new cycle of creation. This is what the human race has to understand. The cycle actually starts at the point of death and not finishes at the point of death. In so many ways, if one understands, is as the dusts, specks of dust came together to make the earth in the solar system, so has the specks of the atoms has come to be the creator of the man. And the essence of the creation of the specks of dust of the solar system has led to the creation of man. So shall be the fields from the soul of the man which lead to creation of another cycle of life. What kind of life man would like to have to be created by the soul? This is the day of judgment. This is what man never understood. Now you have to understand. You have no choice. Up to today you were not aware of it. From today you are aware of it. You are responsible for it. Your conduct has to be to elevate your soul. That in elevating your soul, what you become the creator of stands correct in the conduct of the citizens. We don't give a fairy tale. This is the truth. But as you've seen, the process does not stop with one sun. The cycle carries on. It's very interesting in how humanity now knows in fact to handle the fact. It'll take decades for man to understand, and then you understand those who become the tools of war, the tools of conflict. They have less, they have nothing to start with. They have to become the dust in the solar systems of the others till the day they learn more, as they cannot create a new cycle through their own soul. This is the elevation of the soul of the man. To be part of the creation of a beautiful life for the next cycle. When you don't have it, you have to become another cell in the body of the structure of the bigger, for you to be just there that it can done when you could have been the soul of the man. They say, do not create fear. I give you the point of love for creation. If you cared about your children on this planet to have the best, your true children come out of your own soul in the coming time. How would you like to educate them? How would you like to be when you are in conflict with yourself and the cause of so much mayhem? This is the truth. And the man will take a long time to understand, as now that we understand the soul of the man is an operator for the creation of the future extent of the life of the man. Whatever is gathered by the soul at the end becomes his point of reference of his own creation, of his own dimension. But the strangest thing is, What he creates from a soul shall become the creator of the other souls. This is the beauty about the creation, and one understands it, understands no limitation.